You know you've made it in life when you have your own beer mug. Welcome to Classic Game Room, where I'm reviewing one of the greatest video games ever created. This is Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo. And speaking of Super, it's like a 16-bit beer from heaven. Cheers. There's a general misconception out there that you have to be good at a game to review it. Well, I'm going to defy convention and acknowledge that there is no series I am less skilled at than Super Mario Bros. So prepare yourself for 6 minutes of Mario falling off things, getting impaled or eaten. Because this is Super Mario World, one of the greatest video games ever created, played by one of the worst Super Mario World players in existence. Me. So I suck at it, but I still appreciate a good game, one made with creativity, passion, and innovation. Like this one, Super Mario World was released in 1990 for the fledgling Super Nintendo, which I did not have because I had a Sega Genesis, which didn't do what Nintendo did. It didn't have a Super Mario game because Super Mario Bros. Is one of Nintendo's flagship exclusive series, like Zelda. So all the years I could have spent playing Super Mario World were spent playing Thunder Force 2, Revenge of Shinobi, and Herzog Zwei on the Genesis. I can't rewrite history, man, that's just the way it was. But I love both game consoles, and this is Classic Game Room. We're all friends here, united for one common purpose: global domination by the Vectrex. Super Mario World's influence can still be found in Nintendo games today. In fact, new Super Mario Bros. 2, which I just reviewed, feels like a giant extension of this game. Albeit much easier. And I know I can just jump on one of their heads and knock the shell into the rest of them, but honestly, after losing so many times in this game, it's just stress relief to shoot things. Super Mario World is hard as nails, and this game was meant to take forever to play because there's so much stuff in it, and it's really very challenging. It requires a lot of time, some level memorization, tons of patience, and an incredible sense of timing. I'm not a patient man, and I don't have a good sense of timing, which is kind of important when platforming, wouldn't you say? I've always been unable to jump from one thing to another thing with precision. I've killed Shinobi countless times. I'm great at crashing cars and blowing up stuff with spaceships, but I can't jump. Yet I love Super Mario Bros., and Super Mario World is a technical masterpiece. It's filled with color, and the character and background graphics look great. It also has some of the most memorable and beloved Mario tunes delivered with a rich, organic feel. Something that shouldn't even be possible out of a 16-bit piece of plastic, but somehow they found a way to do it. And some of the tunes even have a wonderful sense of reverb. How'd they do that? I don't know, maybe they played it in a dungeon. The safe way to review this game is to just come out and say it's good, which it is, but it's good for a lot of reasons. The art, the music, the level design, the gameplay, and the sheer size of this thing. For those of us who were playing games back then, you may remember that platformers were a dime a dozen. They were the first-person shooter of the late 80s, the popular genre that everybody was cashing in on with mediocre titles. There were obviously some good ones like Mega Man and Sonic the Hedgehog, but there were a lot of crappy platformers that all followed the same formula. Play through platforming levels, fight an end boss, win the game. Super Mario World turned the world on its head by providing different ways to play the game. You can go back and replay levels, collect coins, get extra Marios, score more points, and discover lots of new levels. It's not a linear game like most of the platformers that preceded it, particularly on the NES, the greatest offender of bad platformers in existence. Now, if you watch this show, you know I'm a Genesis guy. I have like 20 Sega consoles. But I love looking back at this period in history when the war raged between Sega and Nintendo. Now, Sega got the Genesis out just before the Super Nintendo was released. That period around 1989 to 1990 was really exciting because I think the NES library had become pretty stale at that point, and the Genesis library was awesome. So this game is a statement, a timely statement that says, look, the Super Nintendo is going to be super. It's going to have super games like this one. And the platformers are going to be super, unlike the repetitive licensed crap you may have become accustomed to on the NES. I mean, just look at the library. Super Mario World, Super Metroid, Contra 3, and Super Star Wars. There are some super games on the Super Nintendo. And it started with this one, the game that showed what the Super Nintendo could really do. It could be more super than the NES. And it was. Super Mario World is the first game where we meet Yoshi. And it has a save game feature, so you can save your progress, something that you just didn't find in platformers back then. If you grew up with the NES, I mean, how many times would you play a game like Blaster Master, which was an awesome game, but it took so long to play that you'd have to pause your NES overnight because your parents would make you go to bed and you couldn't play the whole thing in one sitting. Then your dog would bump the NES or something and you'd lose your game. Or your mom would just turn it off. Thanks, Mom, for ruining that one game of Blaster Master in 1988. Anyway, in conclusion, Super Mario World is a tremendous game, and the game cartridges still hold their value today. It's also available on the Virtual Console and the Game Boy Advance. It's Super Mario World. A big thanks to our friend Christian from the Netherlands, who sent the game to the show a while ago. Thank you, Christian. It's taken me quite some time to play and review it, but I can honestly say that Super Mario World is super.